Something happened to me a few years ago that I think about almost every day. I was standing in my kitchen holding a bag of groceries, and my legs just trembled. Not a lot, not dramatically, but enough that I had to set the bag down and hold on to the counter for a second. I was 59 years old, and in that moment I thought, when did this happen? When did standing in my own kitchen with a bag of food become something my legs weren't sure they could handle? I didn't talk about it with anyone that day. I just stood there, quietly unsettled. Because the truth is, I'd been feeling it for a while. That slow heaviness in my legs, the way stairs had started to feel like more of an effort, the stiffness after sitting too long. I thought it was just aging. I thought that's what happens and you accept it. But I was wrong. And what I've learned since then, what the research actually shows, changed everything about how I eat, how I move, and how my legs feel today at 66. Here's what I didn't understand back then. After 60, your body produces dramatically less of the proteins it needs to repair and rebuild the muscles in your legs. Scientists have a name for it now. They call it silent muscle collapse. And that phrase hit me hard when I first read it, because that's exactly what it felt like. Silent, invisible, happening underneath everything while I went about my day pretending I was fine. That's why simple things start to feel heavier. Standing up from a low chair, walking longer distances, climbing a flight of stairs. It's not that your legs have suddenly become weak overnight. It's that the muscle fibers themselves are quietly starving for the right kind of nourishment. And most of us, myself included for years, are eating the opposite of what our legs actually need. But here's where the story gets hopeful, and this is the part I want you to really hear. Researchers found that eating specific everyday foods can actually wake up muscle cells that have gone dormant. They can improve circulation in your legs, rebuild strength, even in people well into their 90s. In one study, people who ate these foods consistently regained their balance, walked faster, and restored leg endurance in just 8 weeks. 8 weeks. That means your age doesn't get to decide how strong you stay. What you put on your plate does. And that realization, that was a turning point for me. So today I want to share with you the 5 foods that the science points to again and again for rebuilding leg strength, protecting your joints, and restoring the kind of movement that lets you live on your own terms. And please stay with me through all 5, because the one I saved for first place is the most powerful of them all. Studies suggest it can increase muscle recovery and circulation by extraordinary amounts, even in adults over 90. Before we get into it, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop a comment and tell me. Your story might be exactly what someone else here needs to hear today. Now let's begin. And I'm starting with number 5 because I think this one is going to surprise you. Number 5, sweet potatoes. I know, when you think about building strong legs, a sweet potato probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. It's not a protein source, it doesn't sound dramatic, but sweet potatoes have been quietly doing something remarkable in the bodies of elderly people across Okinawa for centuries. And when I learned the science behind it, I started keeping them in my kitchen at all times. When researchers analyzed the diets of some of the strongest elderly populations on Earth, they found that those eating sweet potatoes at least 4 times a week had significantly more of the fast-twitch muscle fibers in their legs, the ones responsible for power, stability, and getting up out of a chair, compared to people who rarely ate them. Here's why. Sweet potatoes are rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A. And this vitamin A does something inside your muscle cells that scientists only recently understood. It protects the mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside every cell, from the kind of oxidative damage that builds up as we age. Think of it like rust-proofing for your body's engines. But there's more. Sweet potatoes also deliver a generous dose of potassium, important for muscle contraction and for preventing those painful nighttime leg cramps that so many women I know deal with. The purple varieties are especially interesting. They contain compounds called anthocyanins that researchers found can meaningfully improve muscle endurance. Now, and this is the part most people get wrong, how you prepare them matters enormously. Most people peel their sweet potatoes. I used to do the same thing. But the skin is where much of the fiber lives, along with a compound that helps regulate blood sugar and prevents the kind of insulin spikes that can actually break down muscle tissue. What I do now, and what Japanese longevity experts recommend, is steam them whole with the skin on, about 25 to 30 minutes until they're soft but still hold together. This keeps the nutrients intact and actually increases how well your body absorbs the beta-carotene compared to boiling or microwaving. After steaming, I let them cool slightly and eat them with a small amount of healthy fat, a drizzle of olive oil or a little tahini, because beta-carotene needs fat to be properly absorbed. The timing makes a difference too. Eating a sweet potato about 2 hours before your daily walk or any leg activity gives you sustained, steady energy without blood sugar spikes. I usually have one mid-morning on days I'm going to walk the trails here in Asheville. For the best results, aim for one medium sweet potato, about the size of your fist, at least 4 days a week, and try to vary between the orange and purple varieties so you're getting the full range of protective compounds. Many centenarians in Okinawa eat them for breakfast, mashed with a bit of miso paste, which adds beneficial probiotics that help your body absorb even more of those nutrients. The results are hard to argue with. Elderly Okinawans who follow this simple practice have leg strength comparable to Americans 30 years younger. And if sweet potatoes are the foundation, the next food is like adding fuel to the fire in the best possible way. Number 4, sardines. I'll be honest, sardines were not something I grew up eating, and when I first read about them, I wasn't exactly thrilled. But the research behind them genuinely changed my mind, and now they show up in my kitchen every single week. A major study followed 800 elderly participants over 5 years and found that those eating sardines just twice a week experienced dramatically less muscle loss in their legs compared to those who avoided them. The difference wasn't small, it was striking. Here's what makes sardines so special. They're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically the types called EPA and DHA, which actually get incorporated into the membrane of every muscle cell in your legs. They make those cells more flexible and more responsive to the signals that tell your muscles to repair and grow. It's like upgrading the walls of every cell from something rigid to something that can actually move and respond. But sardines also deliver something very few other foods can: vitamin D, calcium, and protein all in one place. A single can with the bones included contains a meaningful amount of highly absorbable calcium plus vitamin D, which most women over 60 are quietly deficient in. And that deficiency is directly connected to weak legs and an increased risk of falling. Correcting it alone can noticeably improve leg strength within a few months. The protein in sardines is also beautifully suited for muscle repair. It contains all the essential amino acids in the right proportions, including leucine, which acts like a signal that tells your muscles it's time to rebuild. Now here's what I learned the hard way. Buying the right kind matters. You want sardines packed in water or olive oil, not soybean oil or other inflammatory oils that can interfere with muscle recovery. Wild caught from cold waters are best. The simplest way to eat them is straight from the can, bones and all. Those soft little bones are where most of the calcium lives. If you're new to sardines, do what I did at first. Mash them with a fork, squeeze some lemon juice over them, and put them on whole grain toast with sliced tomatoes or over a bed of dark leafy greens. The lemon juice isn't just for flavor. It actually increases iron absorption significantly. Try to eat them at least twice a week, about 1 standard can per serving. And if you can, have them within an hour after a walk or any leg activity. That's when your muscles are most ready to absorb what they need. Some of the strongest elderly people in Mediterranean coastal communities eat sardines nearly every day, often for lunch with olives and vegetables, and they maintain the ability to walk steep paths well into their 90s. After just 8 weeks of consistent sardine consumption, studies show measurable improvements in leg strength and walking speed in people over 70. Little by little, these things add up. And if sardines rebuild your muscles from the inside, the next food helps protect them from breaking down in the first place. Number 3, black beans. This one surprised me, and I think the science behind it is fascinating. Researchers found that elderly people who ate black beans at least 5 times per week had leg muscles that appeared 10 to 15 years younger on imaging scans compared to people who rarely ate them. Black beans contain a unique combination of nutrients that work together beautifully. They're packed with plant-based protein, about 15 grams per cup. But it's not just any protein. Black beans contain specific amino acids that both stimulate muscle growth and reduce inflammation in your muscle tissue at the same time. So you're building new strength and protecting what you already have simultaneously. But here's the part that really got my attention. Black beans contain something called resistant starch, which feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. Those bacteria produce a compound called butyrate, which travels through your bloodstream to your muscles and actually switches on genes that prevent muscle wasting. Researchers found that elderly people with higher butyrate levels had significantly more muscle mass in their legs. Black beans are also rich in magnesium, which is absolutely essential for letting your muscles relax properly after they contract. Without enough magnesium, your leg muscles stay partially tense, and that's what leads to weakness, cramps, and that heavy, tired feeling in your legs that so many women describe to me. Now, preparation matters here too. If you're using canned beans, rinse them well to reduce the sodium. But if you have the time, the best approach is soaking dried black beans overnight with a splash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, which breaks down compounds that can block mineral absorption. Then cook them slowly at a gentle simmer for about 90 minutes until they're creamy but still hold their shape. The timing of when you eat them is interesting too. Having them 4 to 5 hours before bed provides slow-releasing amino acids that help prevent muscle breakdown during sleep, which is actually when most age-related muscle loss happens. I didn't know that for years. Aim for about half a cup of cooked black beans at least 5 days a week. And if you pair them with a whole grain like brown rice or quinoa, You create a complete protein that's remarkably effective for muscle building. Many of the strongest elderly people in Costa Rica's Blue Zone eat black beans with virtually every meal, often mashed and seasoned simply with cumin and garlic. The results can be meaningful. Studies show that adding black beans to your daily routine can noticeably increase leg strength within just 10 weeks, with people reporting easier stair climbing and longer, more comfortable walking distances. That's the kind of change that matters in real life. But if black beans help protect your muscles from breaking down, the next food actually helps reverse muscle aging at the cellular level. Number 2, eggs. I eat eggs almost every day, and I have for years now. But what I didn't realize until recently is just how powerful whole eggs are for leg strength, and how wrong we were for so long about avoiding the yolk. A major study found that elderly people who ate whole eggs daily had dramatically more muscle protein synthesis in their legs compared to those who ate only egg whites or avoided eggs altogether. This completely changed the old thinking that egg whites were better for building muscle. Whole eggs contain the highest quality protein available. Your body can use virtually every amino acid in them for muscle repair. But what makes eggs truly remarkable for leg strength is the yolk. It contains vitamin D, choline, and leucine in a combination that triggers what scientists call the body's master growth switch for muscle. When you eat whole eggs, especially after using your legs, this activation is significantly stronger than with any other protein source. The choline in egg yolks is something I think most women my age have never heard of, and it's critical. It helps produce a neurotransmitter that tells your leg muscles when and how hard to contract. Without enough choline, your brain literally struggles to communicate with your muscles. That's not just weakness, it's a breakdown in coordination that makes you feel unsteady and uncertain on your feet. How you cook your eggs matters more than you might think. Soft-boiled or poached, with a still soft yolk, preserves the most nutrients and makes the protein most available for your muscles. When you overcook eggs until the yolks are dry and chalky, you lose heat-sensitive vitamins and make the protein harder to digest. What I do most mornings is bring water to a gentle simmer, lower the eggs in, and cook them for about 6 to 7 minutes. That gives me a soft, rich yolk that's packed with everything my body needs. If I'm making scrambled eggs, I cook them low and slow in a bit of olive oil and take them off the heat while they're still slightly creamy. And the timing is important. Having 2 to 3 whole eggs within 30 minutes after your morning walk or any leg activity creates a window where your muscles are primed to absorb nutrients and grow stronger. This post-activity timing can dramatically increase how effectively your body uses that protein. For anyone still worried about cholesterol, and I understand why because we heard that message for decades, recent large-scale research has found that eating up to 1 egg daily actually supported cardiovascular health in older adults. The nutrients in the yolk help your body process cholesterol properly. So please, eat the whole egg. Aim for 1 to 2 whole eggs daily, and up to 3 if you're actively focused on building leg strength. I often have soft-boiled eggs for breakfast, and then include them again in a vegetable frittata for dinner. Within just 6 weeks of consistent whole egg eating, studies show meaningful improvements in walking speed, balance, and the ability to climb stairs. Those are the things that keep you independent. Those are the things that matter. And now, the one I've been building toward. If eggs are the perfect everyday muscle food, This next one contains something so uniquely powerful that researchers are calling it one of the most important discoveries for aging muscles. Number 1, wild-caught salmon. This is the food that changed everything for me, and I don't say that lightly. When I started rebuilding my health at 60, I knew protein mattered, but I didn't understand why wild salmon specifically was in a category of its own until I read what the research actually showed. A study from a major university found that older adults who ate wild salmon just 3 times per week experienced muscle growth typically seen in people 30 years younger. Their leg strength increased remarkably in just 16 weeks. Wild salmon contains something called astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that gives the fish its pink color. And this compound does something inside your muscle cells that no other food can replicate. It penetrates deep into your muscle mitochondria and shields them from the oxidative damage that normally causes muscles to weaken with age. It's like wrapping a protective layer around your body's power sources. But what makes wild salmon the most important food on this list is that it delivers everything your muscles need in a single serving. Complete protein, omega-3 fatty acids that calm inflammation in your muscles, vitamin D in the form your body absorbs best, and natural creatine that directly fuels muscle contraction. All of it together, working in concert. The omega-3s in wild salmon get incorporated directly into your muscle cell membranes, making them more responsive to growth signals and more resistant to breakdown. And this is important. Wild-caught salmon contains significantly higher omega-3 levels than farmed salmon. The difference matters. The vitamin D in wild salmon is the same type your body makes from sunlight, and just 1 serving can provide your full daily requirement. This vitamin D works together with the protein to activate muscle stem cells, helping you build new muscle tissue even later in life. When I read that, I thought about my mother Patricia and how different things might have been if she'd understood this in her 60s. She lost her mobility so much earlier than she needed to. Now, how you prepare it makes a real difference. The best method is to cook it skin on at medium-low heat, either pan-seared gently or baked at around 325 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes, just until it's cooked through but still moist and flakes easily. Overcooking damages the delicate omega-3s and reduces how well your body can use the protein. I keep it simple: lemon, fresh herbs, a small amount of sea salt, and I always eat the skin because that's where the highest concentration of omega-3s lives. For the best muscle-building benefit, have wild salmon within a couple of hours after any walking or leg activity, when your muscles are most receptive. Aim for 4 to 6 ounces per serving, at least 3 times a week, ideally on non-consecutive days, to keep steady levels of omega-3s in your muscle tissue. I buy extra when it's in season and keep portions in the freezer, so I always have it on hand. The transformation from consistent wild salmon consumption is something I felt in my own body. More strength in my legs, better balance, less stiffness, more energy on my morning walks. And the studies confirm what I've experienced: increased muscle mass, improved walking speed, better balance, reduced inflammation, and even sharper thinking that supports how you coordinate movement. After just 12 weeks of eating wild salmon 3 times a week, participants in studies report feeling like their legs are years younger, with many resuming activities they hadn't done in a long time: hiking, dancing, getting down on the floor to play with grandchildren. That last one, that's personal for me. I have 3 grandchildren, Sophie, Henry, and Lily. And being able to get on the floor with them, to move with them, to keep up, that's not something I'm willing to lose. Now, I want to say something clearly because it matters to me that you hear it. I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. I am not a trainer. I am a 66-year-old woman who spent nearly a decade feeling her body slowly fade, and who decided at 60 that she wasn't going to accept that as the final answer. Everything I've shared with you today comes from research I've read and choices I've made in my own life. Please talk to your doctor about what's right for you, especially if you have specific health concerns. But what I can tell you, what I know from my own experience, is that the path to keeping strong, capable legs well into your 90s isn't found in a gym or a pharmacy. It starts in your kitchen, with simple, real foods that work together to preserve, protect, and even rebuild what time has been quietly taking away. You don't have to change everything at once. That's not how I did it, and it's not what I'd ask of you. Start with one or two of these foods. Build from there, little by little. Add them to your weekly routine and give your body time to respond. Consistency matters so much more than perfection. It always has. Your legs have carried you through decades of life, through raising children, through long work days, through every season of joy and difficulty you've walked through. And with the right nourishment, they'll carry you strongly through many more. I believe that with everything in me. So tell me, which of these 5 foods are you most excited to try? Are any of them already part of your routine? Or is today the day you start making a change? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one and I respond when I can. Because aging well isn't about fighting time. It's about feeding your body what it actually needs, with grace, with intention, and with the kind of quiet commitment that no one sees but you feel every single day.